Welcome to the Life Coach Lounge. I'm Angela.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Emily. We're three life coaches who found connection in faith, friendship, and purpose.
Get ready for real talk, relatable stories, and practical tips you can actually use.
We're so happy you're here at the Life Coach Lounge.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Life Coach Lounge. I am here with my friends Lisa and Angela. Today, we're going to talk about self-care. Self-care is a phrase that can be overused and often misunderstood. I know sometimes even when I hear self-care, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit because it can be defined in many, many different ways. So this episode is not necessarily about maybe what you think of right away when you think of self-care, which for me, I think like spa days, self-indulgent, maybe going on a shopping spree, right? Self-care can be that way, but it's also something that we can say to remind ourselves, like to make a priority of taking care of ourself, our mind, our body, our spirit. So we're going to have a conversation today about it and the importance of taking care of ourselves. Why is this important? Well, I think everyone could agree we want to avoid burnout, fatigue, exhaustion, and we cannot function well on an empty tank of energy. And more importantly, this matters because we want to live our lives on purpose, and that requires energy and vitality. We want to be fully present and functioning at our best. So that means we need to learn how to take care of ourselves, hence the term self-care, right? So Lisa and Angela, I thought to get us started, I would just start because we like to define things here in the Life Coach Lounge. Often Lisa is the one that says, I have a definition for that, or I have a study for that, or even a synonym for that. So I will start with just sharing two pretty good definitions that I found. The first one is more of a psychological definition, and this comes from Psychology Today. Self-care refers to activities and practices that individuals engage in on a regular basis to reduce stress and maintain and enhance their short and long-term health and well-being. And then, since we are also, the three of us, love to come at things from also a faith perspective, I found one that gave a more Christian perspective in addition to what we just read with the psychological definition. And this is adapted from various faith-based counseling resources. Self-care is an act of stewardship, caring for the body, mind, and soul that God has entrusted to you, so that you can serve Him and others with strength and joy. So, ladies, how would you define self-care today? Like, what does it look like in your life right now in this season? Who wants to get us started today?
I think I want to first point out, because I'm so into definitions, even if these definitions are defined by other people's definitions, I get that. I'm going to go to the psychological one because that's typically where my brain goes. The most important piece of that sentence to me when you read that is activities and practices that individuals engage in on a regular basis. Those two words in that whole sentence, regular basis, is what stood out to me because self-care sometimes can be considered like an extra. Like you were saying, like, I'm going to go get my nails done, or I'm going to the spa, or I've got a big vacation coming up or something. And that definition you read saying regular basis, it didn't say once in a while or when you take a vacation or when you think of it. It said regular basis.
That's a great point. It's like car maintenance. You don't like to necessarily wait for the car to break down to realize you haven't had an oil change for a year, right? You take it in for regular oil changes or tune-ups so that it continues to work properly. I love that you pointed that out, a regular basis. And we've talked about habits here before on the podcast. I think very early on, as we were launching our podcast, one of our very first episodes was about habits. So that's what I thought of when you also said regular basis, the habits that we perform to keep us healthy and well.
What I noticed in actually both of the definitions was that at no point did it say it feels good. That self care has to feel good. It might. There are self care practices that feel good, but going on a sugar fast, we know it would be good for us. It's caring for ourselves, but it doesn't always feel good to not have the sugar. Or lifting weights, it's caring for ourselves, it's self-care, but it doesn't always feel good to do it. So self-care, I think, in culture is maybe has the vibe of whatever makes you feel good, curl up on the couch, read a book, binge a show, make the popcorn, drink the tea. Like, it's got to be cozy vibes and feeling good. But I did not see that in the definition. And I think there are things we do to take care of ourselves that we know are good for us and have long term benefits, but don't feel good in the moment.
Great point. So that brings up another question. So would you say self-care is selfish? And where's that line between caring for yourself, caring for your soul, your mind, body, spirit? Where's the difference between that and self-indulgence? And you kind of hit on that a little bit, Angela. It's not always going to feel good. How else could we break that down?
Well, I think you could, if you break down the self-care, the Christian perspective, as an act of stewardship, caring for your body, mind, and soul. Therefore, the act of caring for those, caring for yourself isn't selfish, it's actually being responsible. So you could take the selfishness right out of that because God has entrusted you, as you said in that quote. And so in doing so, then you're being responsible for your stewardship.
I love that word, responsible. Yeah, that's very clarifying when we think about self-care and whether it's selfish or not.
And I think that goes with what Angela was saying, because whether we're talking about this topic today or think of any other topic, when we have to use the slang of adults, like, oh, I'm so tired of adulting today, right? That typically refers to, I have to be responsible for something. Like, I don't want to adult today. So I think that can also go with what Angela was saying about it doesn't necessarily mean that right now in the moment it's going to be comfortable, because being responsible all the time and adulting all the time is not always, rainbows and unicorns and butterfly kisses and
Spoiler alert, adulting and responsibilities aren't always fun or
yeah.
joyful or easy.
And I don't know about you and your adult children, but certainly my adult children, as they're going through just entering or going through their 20s and things that they now actually are responsible for, whether it's something like health insurance or like bigger things. They're like, oh man. I think Angela is right. It doesn't necessarily have to be comfortable. But ultimately, I would also not argue, but I would also say that long term, those things that she was mentioning will make you feel more comfortable. So she was very specific because she said, in the moment.
Great point. I think this also speaks to what I've originally was saying. The term self-care even can just be so overgeneralized or overused that it's good to talk about it. What does it actually mean? And I did come up with some other ways of referring to self-care, this stewardship, taking care of ourselves. And so I thought these kind of resonated, so I wanted to share. So, self care can also be soul care, especially if we remind ourselves that we are children of God. Like we have a spirit, we have emotions. So, soul care is that spiritual or emotional restoration that we seek. Life giving rhythms is another way. We were talking about habits and rhythms, I think, can go hand in hand as well. There are restorative practices, you could say it that way, focusing on rhythm, rest, and refilling your tank. And then the Bible actually talks a little bit about this. So in 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20, it says, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? Therefore, honor God with your bodies." And we can break that down in a lot of different contexts. But this is also reminding us that we are temples of God. We are temples of the Holy Spirit. So that word responsibility comes into play there. We are not our own. How can we best take care of ourselves? So, along with that, Jesus actually practiced self care. In Luke 5:16, Jesus often withdrew, he himself often withdrew into the wilderness and prayed. In Mark chapter 6, he invites his disciples to rest. He says, "Come aside by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while." They had been serving and serving and serving. Many people were coming and going to hear Jesus talk. And they didn't even have time to eat, it says in that chapter. And so Jesus tells them, it's time to rest. It's time to get away and refuel. So we need to refuel, I'm thinking, so that we can show up and serve again. So it's not even just for ourselves. Self-care is taking care of ourselves, but it is also so that we can refuel to be able to do the work that God has for us to do. Have you always seen it that way, ladies, or is that a relatively newer concept to you?
I think it's kind of the put your own oxygen mask on first situation, sometimes easier said than done. I remember when my son was a little baby and I had a friend who had her little boy was the same age and we would get together for play dates, and I was on a health journey, and so exercise was very important to me, and she could not fathom putting her son in the crib or in the playpen for half hour or an hour to do that. She just couldn't. She could not get her head around doing that. And for me, it was more, I have to do this to be a good mom. In the moment, she felt like such a bad mom because she wasn't spending time holding her son. But for me, I knew I had to take care of me to be a better mom. And so the oxygen mask example kind of applies there, I think.
I know for me, I was the classic, what's that phrase? The pot calling the kettle black or something like that.
Yeah.
That was me. Like I would talk a good game. Did I walk the walk? No. No, I didn't. I felt very much like I had to do all the things. I was responsible, and if I didn't do it, then it wasn't done right. My job, my career came before me, my husband, my family, and I lived that way for years. And even though I had people tapping me on the shoulder saying, "This is not sustainable," I acknowledged it, but did not do anything about it. So I did live the self-care of, I'm using air quotes here, of going to get my nails done or treating myself to things more as like performative self-care, not actual self-care. So yes, for me, Now, today is much different than it was even 5 or 6 years ago. And unfortunately for me, like, burnout had to happen. You hear that too, like, sometimes people have to, whether it's hit rock bottom or burn out completely, or you have some health crash or something like that, to actually acknowledge and do something instead of in the moment when people are lovingly telling you, hey, this is not sustainable. You are not your job. Turns out they were right. So yeah, the definition today for me is completely different than it was even a handful of years ago.
So, what are some of those things you do now, Lisa, to take care of yourself? What are some practical things that you prioritize every day or every week to take care of yourself now that you've have a different perspective on it?
I prioritize, call it whatever you want, whether it's me time. Sometimes I even say, listen, I'm putting myself in timeout right now. Like, I just need, but I start my day that way if at all possible. And I don't have to like set an alarm for earlier than 5 a.m. I will purposely get up earlier so that I have even a short period of time that is just for me. So I am more intentional at making, you've heard me talk a lot about like being present and mindful and being in the moment. I do better now if I start my day that way intentionally. For decades, like I said, I started my day as soon as my feet hit the floor. I was off and running, but mentally I was already off and running because I would wake up in fight or flight and my brain would already be on all the things to do that day or that needed my attention. And so I purposely do not start my day in fight or flight anymore.
Yeah, the two words that stuck out when you were saying that was purpose and intention, not just survival mode or not just full steam ahead. Taking time to decide, what do I need to have a successful day today? What do I need in order to fill my tank before I go out and serve or work or do the thing? I'm going to use the phrase, I'm putting myself in timeout. That's brilliant. I also need time to just be, to just reset, to recharge.
I know it's like a type of cliche, can't pour from an empty cup, but where's the lie in that? It might sound cliche to some people, but there's also truth behind it. I forget which one of you gave the car analogy earlier. Like, if your gas tank is empty, you're not going to go get in your car and expect it to take you where you want it to, where you want to go. Like, we're no different.
So true. So true. So self-care then in another way you can say it is like refilling your tank, refilling your cup so that you can pour from a full cup.
Yeah, you're not Fred Flintstoning all over the place. Yeah.
Wait, I've never heard that before. Tell me, what Fred Flintstoning?
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking, I'm like, oh, okay. I just totally dated myself.
I know who Fred Flintstone is. I just don't know the expression.
Okay. So the Flintstones in their cars, they were moving by their feet. Like
Okay.
their
What do
feet
you mean by
were,
that? Now I get
yes.
it.
Yeah. So your car needs the fuel and it can't be your feet. I also used to say you can also be like a swan, the beautiful grace of a swan on the pond. Meanwhile, underneath the water, that swan's feet are like, like moving, 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 moving. And again, that's only sustainable for so long. So apparently, I have all kinds of analogies today for
You have the best analogies.
be where your feet are, people.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I know for me too, how do I know when my mind or body or soul is running low? What are the signs? I will feel it in different ways in my body, whether that's pain or muscle tightness or headaches or maybe even just a little bit of dizziness. I can physically feel my energy in a drained state. And so then I know it's time to really pay attention and figure out, what is it that I need right now? Do I just need a nap? Do I need to eat some healthy food? Do I need to spend time with the Lord in prayer? Do I just need water? It's all of that. So I think it is a daily practice. I also think that it can be, like we were saying earlier in the definition, a regular basis can be that daily taking care of ourselves, but I believe it can also be like a weekly, like Sabbath rest. Do either one of you consider Sabbath rest? I mean, that's another way that God demonstrates it for us. He made everything in 6 days and rested on the seventh. I want to dig into that a little bit more. We go to church on Sunday, we don't work on Sunday. But as far as really embracing what Sabbath rest is and allowing myself to have like that extended period of time of true rest from work, I haven't quite mastered that yet. What are your ladies' thoughts on Sabbath and Sabbath rest?
Well, when I had 5 kids home that I had to get ready on Sunday morning to get out the door and go to church, I thought to myself, someday I'm going to talk to Jesus about this commandment about resting on the Sabbath, because how do you even do that with all these kids? But I found little hacks. I found things that worked in that season. For example, I grew up in an era where Sunday dinner was the big meal of the week. And when I was raising kids, I was like, no, 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 mama's not cooking on Sunday. So we had a weekend review. We had leftovers on Sunday after church. We would pull it out and everyone would heat something up. And I got the day off from cooking. So there were things that I did to take care of myself that, that felt like self care, I guess you would say, in that season. So, yeah, I would say definitely. We even still, Jim and I try to rest on Sundays, whether it's watching a game or spending time with our kids or taking a walk or whatever. Just being together is a treat. It's self care. It feels special. Yeah, I love Sundays, Sabbath.
Sometimes that can be a challenge because you have to quiet the distractions or the opportunities even to go somewhere or do something. I know for me too, I like to maybe even just keep my phone in a different room all day on Sunday. Like as long as my people know where I am, everybody else can just wait. So putting away the distractions, you sometimes have to fight for it a little bit too and be, like Lisa was saying, purposeful and intentional when you decide that Sabbath rest is going to happen. So, do you ladies have a non-negotiable for self-care and staying grounded? Like if you have a really busy week, you see the week ahead, you see a lot of appointments, activities, responsibilities. Is there like a one non-negotiable that no matter what, no matter how busy it gets this week, I am going to do fill in the blank?
For me, it's movement. I have to move my body. If I miss a day, I feel it. If I miss 2 days, I'm going down with the ship. It's just, I have to at least take a walk, move my body a little bit, or I don't feel good if I don't do that. So definitely movement for me.
Yeah, mine's going to go back to time out. If my week is really busy and I'm out the door at 7:15 in the morning and on until 3:30, 4 o'clock, I need time for myself to, even if I took that 15 to 30 minutes to start my day, I I can't remember what episode it was when we talked about introverts, extroverts, and ambiverts, but I can people until I can't people anymore. And so when I'm working out of the home and I'm surrounded by people that I genuinely enjoy being around, like don't misunderstand that I'm enjoying my day. I also just need time for myself. So that would be a non-negotiable for me. And typically I will do that in meditation. I love my Insight Timer meditation app. That's my favorite. And so even if it's not a guided meditation, I might even put on some like instrumental music or something like that and just kind of restoreth my own soul for just a little bit of time. I'll be a nicer person if you let me do that.
I love that. For me, I would say if I see a week ahead as very, very busy, especially like you said, Lisa, if I have an earlier morning where I have to be somewhere earlier than normal, I will right away protect my sleep. So I might be getting ready for bed earlier. I might be saying no to watching a show with Andrew that night or whatever it might be, so that I can get adequate rest because I know that that is restorative for me. And if I need to get up early, that bedtime is scooting back. Simple, but also takes intention.
Sometimes I have to put it actually in my calendar.
Timeouts?
Yeah, I will time block that.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. If like I said, if it's a day where I'm out the door at 7:15 and then I come home, but then there's something else happening by dinner time, we're meeting people, or there's something else, Bible study or something happening, yes, I will time block that in.
I love that. It's an appointment with yourself. It's an appointment to take care of yourself.
I mean, I wish I was a good power napper like you, Emily. I'm not. I would love to be. My husband can like come home and he will set his timer on his iPhone and boom, 15 minutes. He is literally out. Like he can just flip that switch. I can't do that, but I will feel better even if I just give myself that break.
You have to do what works for you.
Well, I aspire to be a power napper.
Yeah, it's a skill, let me tell you. So yesterday I did take a little bit of a power nap in the afternoon and I had clothes in the dryer that needed to be hung up so they didn't get wrinkled. So that was my motivation for just making it a power nap because I needed to get up before they sat in the dryer and got all wrinkly because I knew that I had other things to take care of yesterday. So I laid down. I did set my timer because I didn't want to oversleep, right? So I set my timer. I had 17 minutes. I know that's an odd number, but that's what I had. Okay, you can't sleep past 17 minutes. When I got up, there was 18 seconds left on my timer. So I literally fell asleep for what was it, 16 and a half minutes. I mean, not right away. And then I was refreshed and ready to go. So if you can, it's an amazing little life hack. And I know not everybody can, so I'm definitely not gloating, but that's my favorite self-care tool is a power nap if I had to pick one. So maybe that is so protecting my bedtime routine and power naps.
And I think it's a superpower. I'm just saying.
It is.
I wonder what percentage of people actually have that superpower. That would be curious. I'd be curious to know. Okay, ladies. Well, I knew this was going to be a little bit of a shorter conversation today, but I think it's an important one. And I think it's an important thing to prioritize self-care, whether you call it soul care, life-giving rhythms, healthy habits, time out for yourself. Whatever you call it, it's very important for us to take care of ourselves so that we can be refreshed, refueled, ready to do the work that God has for us to do and to avoid burnout. So, another tip I would say too, if you're not quite sure what self care looks like for you, or if what we're talking about is completely foreign, or if you find yourself in that burnout stage and you just don't know where to start with asking the Holy Spirit to lead you. God, show me what I need today to honor you with all of me. Guide me in taking care of myself so that I can do the work you've called me to do. And He will make it known, He will make it clear, He will provide that opportunity for you. And if you want help beyond that, reach out. We would love to meet with you one-on-one to guide you through what that looks like to slow down and take care of yourself, or to fit self-care into your already busy schedule, because that's possible too. You don't have to completely change your life and your lifestyle in order to make it a priority. So thank you so much for joining us in the Life Coach Lounge today. We just truly appreciate every single one of our listeners. We love hearing from you. Reach out, give us a review or a rating on your podcast platform that you listen to us or where you watch us. That helps others to find us as well. We release new episodes every Tuesday, and we are just so grateful to walk alongside this journey of life with you, one step at a time. We look forward to hanging out with you next time here in the lounge. And Lisa and Angela, I will see you later today in the Marcos.